Hello, I'm Professor Boardway, and this segment there is dealing with the introduction to the professional subjects that we offer through our company in the form of seminars and Skypinars and workshops, tutoring, consultation, and of course architectural services as well. So again, there's two divisions to my company for the most part. One is architectural services and everything that has to do with that. And then the other division is what's called MBA Educational Horizons. And that's the division that focuses on all the seminars, workshops, materials, tutoring, Skypinars, webinars, teleseminars, that type of thing, to help prepare the candidates for the exams as well as for focusing on professional subjects, which this segment is about. So professional subjects, seminars that we do could be, and you can go to our website as well. The page on the website that defines professional subjects, and it'll list, I think it's right around 12 different subjects that we have for the professionals, the ones that are practicing architecture right now. And those can be candidates in the process of taking the exam as well. So you don't have to be licensed, but if you're in a firm and you're working as doing architectural services, then these subjects are for you as well. And so that could be project management, controlling construction costs, communication and documentation, construction administration or contract administration, so there's a list of 12 subjects there. And companies will, if they know I'm coming into town doing a seminar, they will contact me ahead of time, of course, and then I will plan to be there 2-3 days prior to that weekend. I'm doing the ARE seminars or CSE seminars, and I will do lectures for that company, in-house training company programs, during the lunch hours or after hours, and it could be over a 2 or 3 day period as well, depending on how many subjects they want me to lecture on. And our booklets, by the way, are included in that session. What I do is I download the link to the company, and then they can run off as many copies as they want for the attendees of that particular session. Okay? So we go through and we talk about challenges that the architects have with clients, unreasonable clients, challenging clients. The nice ones are okay. I mean, you don't need me to tell you and talk to you about how to deal with nice clients or nice general contractors or construction managers. Here we're talking about the more challenging individuals. So if we can get a handle on those people, then life seems to be a little easier, okay? Because we can always get along with the more reasonable ones, So it's a matter of how do we deal with challenging clients and good communication and documentation and processing throughout the various phases of the project, making sure that we realize what phases we should be hired for, are willing to be hired for as well, and hopefully not stepping outside the limits of our proficiency, contractual obligation, and responsibility. So it's a matter of going through and communicating with the client about that as well. Also communicating with the client about their responsibilities and the architect's responsibilities as well, and the responsibilities of all the parties. Sometimes clients think they hire architects to pretty much become them through the course of the project, and that's not so. And as part of the education that the architect needs to kind of walk through with the client in the first meeting, you'll find your first meeting is probably the most important meeting of the whole project, by the way. It kind of lays the ground rules for responsibilities of the architect and responsibilities of the owner. I mean, the owner, about 3-4 days prior to that first meeting, I end up emailing a list of all the items that the client needs to bring with them in written form to that first meeting. And that would be their budget and their schedule, their level of quality, construction management requirements, program criteria. I call it the wish list until the agency kind of indicates what they can have as well as their budget schedule. And we'll put a feasibility analysis together on that to see what's feasible, what's not, and then of course present that, communicate that to the client, and we go from there. If it's a feasible project, it'll work with the two entities we answer to, which would be the agency and the client. Then we move forward. If for some reason it's non-compliant with one of those entities, then of course we have to stop the project and figure out what's feasible. So the budget and the program have to balance out, as well as the schedule, and it all has to be feasible before we should move forward on the project. And the client needs to understand that as well. The other thing the client needs to understand on most of these projects, or all these projects, is that they need to attend all of the meetings as well. We should not, architects should never be going to meetings for clients or owners. And when you find you're in a reporting mode, you're in a wrong position, all right? The client or their legal representative, and the legal rep can be a third-party person, not the architect, the CM, or the GC, or it needs to be a third-party person that has the power of making decisions on behalf of the client in the absence of the client. All right, so these are the things we talk with the client about in the first meeting, making sure that they understand their responsibilities. They need to be at all the meetings, and the architect will be there as well. We are not the representative of the owner, even though it says so in some contracts. The owner represents themselves. We do not represent the owner. We represent ourselves, and the client needs to understand that. So, and all the responsibility. So I basically have the client understand in the first meeting their responsibilities, what they need to attend to as far as agency meetings, town hall, community meetings, consultant meetings with the architect, the in-house meetings as well, and so I communicate that to the client so they understand it right away. We talk about fee schedule with the client as well, and here's our fees, and here's all the phases you're hiring us for, and so we have to communicate the responsibilities and the function of each phase as well. And so never keep the client in the dark. Always communicate with the client. The client, I use client and owner synonymous in my talks, but they need to understand all the information that they of course need to have so they can make proper decisions. That's, you will find as an architect, that really is your number one rule, is to get the information to the owner so they can make proper decisions. And if we're not giving the information to the owner as we need to, we could be held negligent. So it's something we have to watch out for as an architect, is make sure the client has all the information they need to have so they're making proper decisions progressively, okay? And so if the owner says, I can't make that meeting, go to the meeting for me and fill me in later, is the time I say, well, why don't you go ahead and give me 3 or 4 windows of time you can make it, and we'll go ahead and set up the meeting according to those times and dates, because it's important that you be there. It's required that you be there. It's not, we just don't invite them. If they're in town, they drop in type of thing. They need to be at all the meetings, okay, so that they can make decisions as they need to, and they need to understand the decisions of the agencies as well, especially if it starts getting involved with off-site improvements and such. They need to hear firsthand their requirements regarding all the off-sites as well. Anyway, so this is the stuff we talk about in those 12 subjects or so that we offer, professional subjects. Communication and documentation, of course, is good as well. Nothing should be ever finalized over the phone, or handshakes and so on, like they used to do in the 60s and that type of thing. So we need to document everything, and all agreements, and by whom and who had the right to make those decisions, and that type of thing. So we'll go into communication and proper documentations and file systems and so on to have, and so we also track a project from start to finish, from the pre-design stages all the way through to post-occupancy, and talk about the purpose of each phase and the documents that we need to have in each one of those phases as well. We'll talk about monitoring and controlling construction costs, or project costs, not only construction, but the whole project. So we're monitoring something. The formula is, if you don't monitor it, it's surprise time. So it's a matter of monitoring what you don't want to be surprised about, and so that would be a budget. I mean, my question to you or to anyone out there, how often do you have budget meetings? By the time we have a budget meeting, it's like, well, what budget? It's gone. So it's a matter of monitoring the budget as well progressively, and we talk about that in the exam as well, Controlling project cost, construction cost is important. Goal setting as well, especially with the downsizing in firms. Some of the employees that are there now are taking on twice the amount of load of work, and so how do you monitor your time, prioritize and goal set, and so on, daily basis, weekly, monthly. We go to talking about all that as well, realistically, because again, if it's not realistic, you're not going to stick to it. All you need is one phone call and the whole schedule's gone for the day. So it's a matter of how do you get around that. Okay, so we talk about techniques on that as well, goal setting, and so anyway, so these are some of the subjects, the professional subjects that we offer. And to companies, and we come in and we do an in-house company lecture, and then hopefully, we're getting some good results. Companies are turning around. We'll talk about contracts that companies use as well, and the verbiage that's used in their contracts. We'll talk about codes as well. That's another professional subject, is accessibility codes and the codes that we need to comply with. Because as architects, we do need to be on the cutting edge of all the laws, codes, regulations, standards, zoning ordinances, issues, all of that stuff that affects a project. That is our responsibility. I see that note on some architectural documents. The contractor shall confirm the accuracy of all of these documents, and any judge or good attorney will tell you can take that statement and throw it as far as you can, because it's responsibility of the architect to generate the documents according to all the two entities we respond to, which is client, which are client and agency. And that's the two entities we answer to as an architect. And so if we're in compliance to those two entities, we're fine and we move forward. We've done our job and such. It is the responsibility of the contractor to build according to the documents with regards to construction means, methods, techniques, and the like. So anyway, we talk about all that stuff in the specific seminars we do and such as well. So if you have any questions, you can always give me a call, and I can touch base with you as well. Or just look further onto our website regarding course descriptions of all those as well. All right, take care. Thank you. Bye-bye.